It's Tuesday, March 20th, 2012. I'm Rim.
I'm Sky.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, we talk about Trigger and Abobo. Bobo.
Let's do this.
So I realized there might not be a big overlap here. So, all you video game kids, there's an anime called Bobo.
It's Bobo.
Bobo.
No, you spelled it wrong. It's Bobo. I'm 100% correct.
The important part
Guaranteed.
is there's 7 bows.
Yeah, I'm 100% confident that that is the correct way to say it.
So, Abobo is the character, and you guys know all that. We'll talk about that. I'm not gonna. Scott's mad when I blow my load early, so I'll wait. But we're talking about
You already
Abobo's
blew the
big
load.
adventure.
It's too late. It's too late. You're done. You need some Viagra's.
But yeah, PAX is coming. I haven't really been paying attention to video game news or any of that stuff.
Pretty much paying attention to nothing but PAX.
And it's gaming season.
And
I've been playing more PC games and more board games than anything lately.
I've been playing. It's definitely game season, and it's also warm, so it's biking season. So it's pretty much biking, gaming, PAXing, eating, sleeping,
Yep.
showering.
Good times.
That's it.
So, I have a little bit of news here, but I guess I'll let Scott go first because my news is actually really little, so I got a bunch of them.
So my news is actually something I don't personally really care about, but I know that every nerd in the universe does care about it, right? So many nerdy people who are very popular amongst the nerds, but are not popular amongst me, such as Will Wheaton.
I believe you mean Will Wheaton.
Sure, whatever. And
Whip.
who's that other girl?
I think the point is made.
Felicia Day.
I think.
The people that I know, they're nerdy famous people, right?
At least you recognize them as nerdy famous people.
Well, I mean, when you're in the middle of Nerd Town, right? It's like, you know the nerdy things you don't like. You know that they exist, right?
As an exercise to our listeners, I'm going to ask Scott one question only. Name any actor from Friends, Mad About You, Cheers, or Seinfeld other than Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, I can do Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Right? Kramer's name is like Mike Richards or something?
All right, not bad. You
Richards?
got that.
Is that
Name
correct?
Yeah.
Costanza is Alexander something. No, Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
And
All right,
Elaine is...
So outside of Seinfeld.
Outside of Seinfeld? I don't know any one of those other shows at all. Not a clue.
So Felicia Day should feel honored.
Okay.
Anyway.
So they're basically making a show that's sort of like Celebrity Poker, right? Where they basically they get together at a table and play poker, and you're entertained because they chat while playing, right? But instead of playing poker, the show is called Tabletop, and they're gonna play tabletop games. We're not exactly sure what games they're gonna play. If it's gonna be RPGs or board games, or if they're gonna play hardcore games or less core. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're going to play real board games because they're going to be switching up the people, so I don't think RPGs are really going to be how it's done. Maybe one-shot RPGs? I have no idea. But that's what they're going to do, which is a pretty interesting idea. I wish I had thought of it. I'm sure nerds all over the place will be like, oh my god, this is the best, and they'll watch every episode and be crazy obsessed with it, and I won't give a shit, but that's okay.
We'll see. Could be good.
Yeah, but even if it's good, I don't really care about any of these people, right?
Yeah, but you don't have to care about the people. I mean, you started caring about the people in Running Man. You didn't know who they were ahead of time, except for the girls.
I've seen these people before, and I'm not a fan, right? It's like, it's not like these are new people I haven't seen.
But you mostly have seen them in their element, which is an element you don't like. What if they're in some other element that you like?
Maybe we'll watch an episode. We'll see how it goes.
Maybe we'll do a show.
We're not gonna knock it if we haven't watched it, right?
Scott, if we review it, then the nerds come out of the woodwork and put the hate on.
Maybe.
I mean, the hate I got, even for asking what Homestuck was about, I still don't know what Homestuck is about.
I researched it even more and still don't know.
Oh my god! Yesterday we were trying to figure it out again, so we were reading the official wiki. I guess the unofficial wiki. I don't know.
Well, any web comic that needs a wiki, there's a problem.
But the thing is, the more I read the wiki, the less I understood.
Yep, absolutely.
And I asked, someone explained what it was. I was like, oh, that makes sense. But then I read the wiki, and that didn't in any way relate to what that other guy said.
That's how it goes, from what I've noticed. I think there's I think it's a big elaborate hoax or something. I don't know.
It doesn't. Nobody actually, except I read it. It's real. It's there.
Who knows?
So, many of you may know I've talked about this in the past, but not recently. But the Game Boy, the Game Boy,
the original one, the big brick one,
was pretty much the biggest, most popular. Like, it was the handheld console. It was the first viable handheld console.
And if you combine all the Game Boys together, right, advanced, color, everything, and even without including DSs, it's pretty much the number one console. Period. If you include the DSs, forget about it.
This is why it was such amazing news that the PSP was even a fraction of the market.
Yeah, everyone has tried, Game Gears and Neo Geo Pocket Colors and all sorts
Lynx. Remember the Lynx?
Yeah, Lynx.
I wanted a Lynx so bad.
What's it called? Wonder Swan, right? All sorts of things.
That wasn't really in the U.S.
It doesn't matter. All these things were tried and failed.
But so it was very
the fact that the PSP, it didn't succeed stunningly,
but it didn't die.
It didn't die. And now there's even a new PSP, like the PSP Vita, right? Or something like that? Yeah.
So back in the day, I got a Game Gear. Saved up money, allowances forever for that thing.
I just played other people's Game Gears.
Yeah, so I actually had a Game Gear, and we also had a Game Boy. And my brother mostly played the Game Boy, and I mostly played the Game Gear. And to this day, I'm actually kind of amazed. The Game Gear, for its time, looked amazing graphics-wise. Granted, the battery lasted 10 minutes, but...
Yeah, if you play a Game Gear today and you're not emulating the game, it's pretty awful because the screen has the worst ghosting in the universe.
Yep.
And, yeah.
But the games got around that. The games were designed to where that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, but
mostly.
The thing is, there were some Game Boy games that today I would go back and play, like the Kirby's Dream Land 1.
There are Game Gear games I would go back and play. Not many.
I can't even think of one.
The Sonic on the Game Gear was different from every other Sonic.
It was different, but it wasn't. I mean, it was good.
It was
good.
balls.
It was good for a Game Gear game, but it wasn't good. I'm gonna go back and play it, right?
So, how about Dragon Crystal? Do you know what Dragon Crystal is?
You and your Dragon Crystal and your
What
Gemfire.
is Dragon Crystal? And Scott, no, me and my Dragon Crystal. You're thinking of Crystal Warriors.
No, I'm thinking this is your Gemfire bullshit with a little turn-based wizard moving.
Not at all.
No?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, the one you're thinking of is Crystal Warriors, which is basically Proto-Advance Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Crystal is NetHack. And Dragon Crystal was on the Game Gear. And the reason I bring this up is because you know what's coming now to the Nintendo 3DS download library?
Dragon Crystal?
The Game Gear library.
Great.
The Game Gear was important for one
But you're
big
not going to
reason.
buy a 3DS.
No, fuck
Nor
that.
are you going to pay to download a game for it that you could just play in a Game Gear emulator for free.
I own a Game Gear.
You could probably play them on a DS Lite with a cart.
I own a Game Gear.
Where is
still works. I also own every good game on the Game Gear.
Yeah, where is it?
I don't know, in a box somewhere.
Yeah, so you don't. It's not in your possession.
There's a mod you can do where if you put two different kinds of battery, I don't talk about the Game Gear, but anyway.
Because one side runs down faster than the other side.
Yeah, so two of the batteries were for the screen and the other 4 were for the Game Gear.
Exactly.
And yet the screen needed so much power that it would drain those two batteries like that.
Yep, and then you rotate the batteries and then you.
I had this pound-and-a-half gigantic, it looked like one of those satellite phones from an 80s movie.
Yep.
And it was a battery pack for the Game Gear.
Yep.
Seriously, the Game Gear, when it came out, you look at it now, you're like, whatever. Look at when it came out and look at the Game Boy and just look at that screen. That was some amazing shit.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But the fact that these games are coming back, and it's funny, the article mentioned Shinobi, Sonic, and Dragon Crystal. I can only name 4 other Game Gear games that were actually really good.
Name another Game Gear game that was...
Crystal Warriors.
I can't name one.
There was also a pretty good RPG that was set in the, it was an Arabian theme. I forget what it was called.
All right, I'm going to go look up top Game Gear
Haley
games.
Wars was an okay shmup in the, kind of
Here we go. Top 10 Game Gear games according to VGCharts.com. Shining Force, that's an RPG.
Yep.
Sonic 2, of course.
Yep.
We mentioned that already. Shining Force again. And Shinobi 2.
Yep.
And Lion King. There was an Aladdin for the Game Gear, I think. It was that side-scrolling Aladdin.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Shinobi 1.
I didn't own the Aladdin, but it was a lot like the one on the Genesis.
Yeah. Power Rangers game.
No?
Sonic Triple Trouble. I never played
I didn't
that
play
one.
that.
Oh, it looks like a slightly better Sonic Chaos. I never played that one either. And Columns. All right, Columns was like the Tetris equivalent.
Yep.
But
I hated Columns.
No, Columns is not good. Battle Balls is better. Anyway.
Yep. So I got one more little news, just because. So Nintendo, you might have noticed that in the Icarus game, they've changed their nomenclature
The new
for
3DS one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For local multiplayer. So instead of calling it multiplayer, they call it together.
Mm-hmm.
So solo or together are the modes. And the interesting thing is instead of saying like Wi-Fi or network, or, they've all had all these different terms. Now they call it far away or nearby.
No, that's not bad.
I know. Now, nerds are flipping their shit and complaining. And
Who
for
cares?
once, nerds, seriously, nobody knows what ad hoc networking is but you.
What the fuck does it matter what word they use?
Yeah.
Do they have the feature? Does it work? Now, of course,
Well,
it doesn't
well,
work.
well.
Right?
Nintendo, I don't trust to do multiplayer on anything but a console connected to my PC for the life of me.
Yeah, right.
But that aside, the kind of meta controversy about this among nerds is bullshit. Gaming has to be accessible, and I see no reason.
I don't care what word they use. They could call it like, mode A and mode B, like in Gyromite. We had no idea which mode went what, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter to me what they call it. All that matters is, do they have the multiplayer? Does it work? And the question, does it work?
We don't know. The game didn't come out yet.
Oh, okay.
It comes out in 3 days, in fact.
All right.
But I got these pictures here, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I haven't kept up on how much they're still using friend codes. I think they've changed a lot of that, but I don't know. It's weird. Go look at Geeknights 5 years ago. What would we say? Nintendo is winning. DS is best.
The earliest Geeknights from like 05, 06 were like, oh my god, PC gaming is to dead.
Now, you might say we were wrong. That's not true. Back then, PC gaming was fucking dead.
It was. Steam was only 2 years old.
It was at the point
there
where
weren't any indie games. There wasn't any Minecraft.
I bought a Mac Mini as my primary PC because I decided, I don't need to play games online anymore.
Yeah.
And PC gaming's coming back.
Yeah, well, it's already back.
It's still coming though because NS2 is not there yet.
But there's 3 possible FPSs that can bring back the silver age of FPS. That's Counter-Strike Go.
Oh my god.
Tactical
Insertion.
Infiltration, whatever it is.
Wasn't it Insertion?
I don't know. I have it and I don't even know. And TI and NS2. One of those 3. And, Tribes, whatever would have been, Tribes Ascend would have been on the list if it wasn't all micro bullshit.
Yeah. I really just want to play Tribes to But anyway, things of the day. So, friends Pete and Neri were over, and they brought me a book that I'd seen people talking about and mashing up on the internet.
I hadn't seen it before ever.
But I hadn't paid attention to it. So, we read the book aloud and doing the teacher thing where you turn and show the kids
because it's a
the
children's
page.
book.
It's a children's book.
Elementary school.
Called I Want My Hat Back by John Klassen. And this is on the level of the greatest children's books
right.
ever
It's
written.
like, you think of the greatest children's books.
It's like the monster at the end of the book.
Or like you got the Dr. Seuss's, you got, Hungry Caterpillar,
Yep.
you got Goodnight Moon, you got, let me think of another one. Like Midnight, what's the train, the snow train, the Christmas train?
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? I forget. Something Express.
Polar Express. But there's a good list of kids' books.
Yeah, there's there's Richard Scarry, right? Busy Town.
And then there's the kind of modern kids' books like Go to Fuck to Sleep. That's like almost
yeah,
there.
whatever. But the point is, those books, it's like those are so old, those books, but they are so timeless and perfect forever. What's the one that Christopher Walken read?
Oh.
Where the Wild Things Are, right? These books are so timeless and perfect. You can't imagine that there would be another entry into that category. That it's like.
You think
it hasn't
every story
happened
like that has been told.
Right. It's like our whole lives, there hasn't been a new one of those. All the ones that I read in elementary school are still the ones. There aren't any newer ones that are in that quality level. Like, you just sort of accepted, I guess it's not possible to write the new classic children's book.
But then, out of nowhere, John Klassen writes one of the greatest children's books of all time.
It is on the same level as all those greats.
The reason it is good is, one, you have to read it the bear's voice. My hat is gone. I want it back. Have you seen my hat?
No.
And it's got the classic, the page where you figure out who stole the hat. The kids you're reading it to will be like, oh my God, that's the fucking hat. Why doesn't the bear fucking do something? And then it just
I don't think the
passes
kids will
it.
say fucking unless they're awesome.
Oh, society's changing.
Sure.
When you translate a kid's thoughts, the kid is not thinking, oh, the fucking bleh, but that's what it translates into.
Yeah, they get the whole class. This is hat. I see it. He's got the rabbit has it. Oh my God.
But the page...
Spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil it.
The rabbit has that.
There is a page that when I turn to it, I could do nothing but hear the Kill Bill music in my head. This This is one of the greatest illustrations in any book ever. This book is great, and you have to read it.
This is the best book. It's I don't even want to say it's a kid's book, all ages book.
Someone already mashed it up with Madoka Magica on YouTube.
It's crazy.
So
I want to see a lot more mashups of this style.
Guys, ponies, it's so easy.
I know. I was surprised there wasn't already a pony who stole my hat going on. Especially since you could use Applejack's hat so easily.
Oh my god!
And you could have Angel Bunny steal it, right?
Because Angel is a jerk, as we just learned.
And it's a bunny in both situations.
The rabbit kind of deserved it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thing of the day.
That's okay. So my thing of the day, so I don't forget it like I did in the previous show. I got 2 recipes here because it's sunny out and it's warm, which means you can grill, and it means you can walk to the grocery store without putting on a coat, so you're more likely to get some groceries and ingredients.
Oh my god, I smelled on the way home yesterday from work every grill in the world.
I know, right?
Oh my god, I want to
It's RIT Frisbee Day anyway. So I found these 2 awesome recipes, right? So one of them is onion ring sunny side up eggs. The way you do this is real simple. You take the onion and you go chop, 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 so that you get rings. Onion, just onion rings.
Not onion rings.
Not onion rings like you order at the diner. Just, they're rings of onion.
Not chicken rings.
Exactly. They're not fried yet or anything like that. You put the rings on the hot, pan. Then you put the egg inside the ring. And you can cook the egg any style you want.
Brilliant.
Cook it inside the ring. It's the same way as Girl Scouts. They cut out the middle of the bread and they put the egg in the middle.
So what I want to do...
Just instead of using bread, use the fucking onion.
I'm going to cut a hole in the bread,
use
put
a pepper.
onion hole in the bread.
You could do that. Or you could cut open a pepper and get sort of like that flower shape of, because the pepper's hollow, right? So you cut like a pepper slice that's, a complete circle with, bumps on the sides. Put the egg in that mother, and it'll actually be thinner because the pepper is probably a little bit bigger. And it maybe cook faster. And, you do whatever style you want. If you want to do sunny side up, try to keep the yolk together and then cover it with a lid and put some steam in there so it gets nice and cooked. Or maybe, scramble them up and then pour them in there and then do a flip of the onion. You can try to mix it up and do whatever you want.
It's a good idea.
Yep. All right, so second recipe. This one's definitely for the grilling. Take a banana. Don't peel the banana. Take a knife and stab the banana and cut a line all the way down with the peel on. Not, like with the banana split, you're going to open the banana and cut it in half. Do not actually, remove the peel. Just put a slit in the banana, so now it's sort of like a vagina.
Peel
right?
it.
Right? Then sort of squeeze it open.
Oh, wait.
And then stuff it full of good stuff.
I'll let that go.
This is a show. We have to entertain the peoples. So... Right? And stuff it full of good stuff. By good stuff, I mean anything like chocolate chips or, whipped cream probably wouldn't be good to put in first. You put the whipped cream on afterwards, right?
I guess that's at the end.
Yeah, right? But, you might want to put some like butterscotch in there or chocolate syrup.
How are you going to clean it, though?
Don't worry about that.
Or do you just eat the entire thing?
If you're a heathen, you can put some coconut in there, right, or something like any sort of topping that can handle cooking, right?
Okay.
Then you wrap that mother in tinfoil, peel and all, right? Pack it in tight, and then put that mother on the grill, normally like you.
What's with you and saying that mother on this show?
Mother, because it's a mother. You put it on the grill, right? And
actually, it's not because Cavendish bananas are nothing but clones.
I know. You wait for it to melt and all the goodies inside to sort of melt into the banana and for the banana meat itself to sort of get mushy. Then you take that off the grill, open up the tin foils, and then you would apply whipped cream or other non-cookable toppings.
Scott, I'm so hungry.
And then you take the peel off and go, no.
So what, pray tell, is this mystical dish called?
It's called a banana boat.
You may recall the last time we talked about a banana recipe was, in fact, monkey business.
Yeah.
The summary of that one is basically take French toast, but make the French toast out of banana bread.
Yeah, it works. The problem is...
it's too much.
You have to cut it. The secret is cut it thinner, right? This is why we failed on monkey bread. We used too much egg, and we had too thick banana bread. Cut the banana bread thinner, use less egg, and make sure the egg is nicely watered and orange juiced so that it's, more dilute. Then it works.
Yep. So in the meta moment, of course, we're going to be at the Penny Arcade Expo East.
Duh.
And we are either involved with, or have very close friends and associates who are doing many events. On Friday, What is Burning Wheel, Lucraine. the Geeknights Board Game Workshop. That's us, 6 to 8 p.m.
That's going to be the best.
In the Tabletop Workshop Theater. We are teaching the audience in the Tabletop Workshop, which is basically a classroom with tables and everything.
Yeah, it's like there's going to be all these panel rooms, right? But it's like, okay, you know, panels are mostly good, sometimes not so good, right? The Tabletop Workshop room is going to be the awesomest room.
Yeah, we tried this out, and they did it at PAX Prime, and it was a huge success. So now they're making it
was a
big.
tiny room.
Yeah, they tested it. It worked really well. PAX
But
East
it just didn't get enough attention on it.
has many more rooms, so they made a real panel room that's just for these kinds of workshops. So we're in there for 2 hours teaching everyone how to play and win Carcassonne and Agricola
and maybe some other stuff.
A secret game, and we'll do some other fun things.
Yeah, but we're basically going to teach you how to play if you'd never played it before. And even if you have played it before, we'll teach you how to win, or at least the best strategies and how, you know, that we know, so that you'll start off playing. You won't just have to derp your way through a whole bunch of games. You'll need to derp your way through like 1 or 2 games.
Yep. Then that evening, Lorian Green, her documentary Going Cardboard, will be screening.
If
in the
you don't
Arachnid
already
Theater.
have the DVD.
Yep. And we should, at least one of us or both of us will be around, because she's going to do a Q&A afterward, and there's going to be some fun stuff. She'll also be in the Kickstarter room doing another screening, and I imagine if you want to talk to her about the documentary, she'll be really accessible.
That's pretty much all she'll be doing.
Saturday, Jared of Soren Crane, Parsley, Spooky Manor, Jungle Adventure, Action Castle fame will be doing Spooky Manor and Jungle Adventure.
Oh, I thought he was doing one on Friday also.
He's not doing one on Friday, but Saturday
okay.
he's doing Spooky Manor and Jungle Adventure, and on Sunday he's doing Z-Ward.
Okay, I thought it was one each day, but I guess it's 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday.
And at 4:30 p.m. in the Cat Theater, we're doing Let's Play Money Making Game.
10, 20, 50.
And that evening, and I want to go to this, at 6 o'clock in the Tabletop Workshop, Luke Crane is talking about how he calls this panel the D&D You Never Knew. And the premise of it is pretty cool. He's going to talk about how we rail on Dungeons & Dragons for being a bad role-playing game, but it's bad because we try to use it to do things it's not good at. He talks about old school, hardcore dungeon crawl D&D and how if you play that game as it's written, it's amazing.
Well, it is amazing, but it is also a dungeon crawl.
Yeah,
it's like Descent or Hero Quest.
Yeah, you can't fault D&D, like old school D&D, for not being a burning wheel
Of course
inspectors
not.
kind of game. In the same way that I can't fault Doom for not having interspecies sex a la Mass Effect.
Do you want to play D&D first, Ed? With, I have the 3 colored boxes.
We could.
The red, green, blue. We can just play it, walk around dungeons, hit things with no expectation of role playing.
I think it'll be an interesting panel. I want to see exactly what he has to say.
I do too.
Yeah. So PAX is going to be goddamn rockin'. Independent of Anime Boston on the same weekend.
You could say it's a mother.
The book club book is The Hunger Games. The movie's coming.
Yeah.
Everyone's going apeshit about this book, so I figure we should review it.
From what I've heard, I haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to say, but what I've heard is basically, even people I've follow and such who are not nerdy were like, everything seems to suggest that it's some sort of combination of Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man and Battle Royale.
Oh, it is, but there's a third element.
A third element, huh?
1984.
Okay.
Like straight up.
Well, the Battle
1984.
Royale has 1984, so
It
that's
does,
not a new element.
But the Battle Royale 1984 is a little far-fetched, the way it's presented. And a little superficial.
I think it just doesn't come across to the foreign audiences.
Well, I think it's more that Battle Royale focuses mostly on the kids fighting.
The movie, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't read the book.
The
so
book
I don't
is
know.
gigantic. I can't imagine that the book doesn't have more than the
Hunger
movie.
Games starts quite a bit before and ends quite a bit after the actual fights.
Mm-hmm.
And does it good. I liked it, but we'll save that for the review.
Well, fine.
We got internet stuff. We got a YouTube channel, Geeknights Stream. We got an awesome forum. We got a Twitter. We got a bunch of Twitters.
Facebook, Google Plus, whatever
All
it is
shit.
that you like, you should connect with us in the way that you please.
And I will have a link to it because, as you know, we run the panels and workshops department of Kineticon. Submissions are open. The forum still has a little bit of funkiness because it's on the new website, and we did not write the forum. Don't complain about the forum to me.
It has nothing to do with us. Complain to Kineticon. We didn't do it.
But
We complain also.
the forum is up. You can submit your panels. The people who approve panels are me and Scott.
Yep.
So listeners
If
out
there
there,
are weird fields on the form that you don't know what to type in them, either type nothing or type whatever, just like garble garble, and it won't even matter.
unless that field is relevant to your thing.
Such as like title or description or, the point is if you don't know what it is, then it's probably not for you.
Yep. But really, guys, you listeners, the people we know, you guys are the ones that are our go-to for good content at Kineticon, because historically, the people who we know through Geeknights who submit panels do some of the best panels we got.
Yeah.
So if you want to submit and you're a Geeknights listener, there's a good chance, unless your panel looks really shit, that we're gonna put it in the schedule and get you a free badge or two. Anything else?
No, let's do the show.
All right. So Spotted was the sleeper hit of PAX. Like we were PAX East last year. We were jumping all over this game.
We can call this past year the year of Spotted.
I own like 3. Well, I
In
have.
fact,
owned,
I think Spotted's probably the tabletop game of the year. Too.
I have owned like 5 Spotted sets because I keep buying it and giving it to people as gifts. In fact, I gave the first Spotted set I bought that unfortunately has a for rectal use only sticker on it to Robert Koo.
Oh, you mean fortunately?
I'm curious to see if he has played that Spotted or if he has in fact not opened it for
Well,
fear.
if he has the Q&A, you can go and ask him.
I will. It's at midnight on Friday.
I know.
So, Blue Orange Games made Spotted, and they made another game. They have a lot of games that they've made.
I think they have an excess in their warehouse of circular cards and metal tins.
So Trigger is a newer game they made that looks a lot like Spotted. Little tin, circular cards, all that stuff. And the way Trigger works, I'm going to spoil the review right now. It's a great concept, and it was fun to play once.
Kind of, half fun.
I would argue we had fun because of all the arguing and problems.
Some of the
we
times
had.
it was fun. But it's like part of the time we were playing was fun, and part of the time we were playing was not fun.
You got to admit, when my question to all of you was, the state we are in ends in a consonant.
That was the fun part.
So the way the game works is you have a card with a question on it or a statement like, your first name has an even number of letters, or I have children, or the answer is false to, something like that. You can whistle your own national anthem. Everyone slams down either the right hand or the left hand on the trigger, which is the little foam pad. The right hand you slam down if the statement is true. Now, if the statement says you, then it means you personally. So if it's like, you are wearing pink shoes, then if you are wearing pink shoes, you say true. But if the person says, I am wearing pink shoes, it's if the person who said the thing on the card
Right,
is wearing pink shoes.
so if it's a you question, then people might have to give different answers. Like, let's say I'm wearing shoes and the guy next to me isn't, and it says you are wearing shoes. Well, I'm going to put down the true hand, and he's going to put down the false hand, right? But if it's a question where it's a my question, then it's a question about the question asker, in which case everyone has the same answer as is the correct answer.
Now, yeah, and you put your left hand down for false.
Yep.
Then we sorted out. Whoever put the correct answer down first gets to keep the card, and they're the reader next. Whoever put the first wrong answer down, if there is a wrong answer, gives up a card. And then, based on the color of the back of the card, the person who won the point is now the new reader. And you go through until someone runs out of cards.
Right. So basically, winning doesn't actually get you anything because you then have to read a new card, but it helps you because when you're reading a card, there's no chance you can lose one in that round. So if you win every round, there's basically no chance of you ever losing a card because you're reading questions the whole time. But, so what the game comes down to is, who can hold out the longest without losing all their cards, right? So the game could go on forever if everyone plays perfectly. Unlike Spot It, which is sort of like it's going to end.
Now, the concept is great. And we know it is because when we played, some of the questions, like everyone would be like your brain, just like Spot It, your brain would freeze. Your adult brain would say, wait a minute, I'm actually a baby.
Yep.
And that part is really fun. Like you get questions like, what's a really good one? Because some of the questions are kind of dumb.
The ones that have a lot of double negatives.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
The opposite of false is true. At least 2 players are wearing shoes with no laces. I'm reading the card in English. The table we were playing on is round. Now, that's where the problems begin.
Right. A lot of these questions have assumptions built into them. We weren't playing on a table. We were playing on the floor. So what is that question even, should it be, obviously it's not true because we're not playing on a table.
should
but
be-
it's
now-
not false either.
Well, it is, because logically the statement is false because one portion of it is false.
yeah, it's
However,
tough though.
that's fine, because that we could argue. But some of the questions have a problem that they will specify what the actual answer is. They'll put a little T or a little F next to it.
Because they think, the people who made this game, that no matter what, that question will always be true or always be false. Sometimes this is the case. Sometimes it is actually not.
For example, green is made by mixing blue and yellow. They say this is always true. But wait a minute.
Not
Are
if
we
it's
talking
light.
about pigments or are we talking about light?
Exactly. We're too smart so that we know better than, that you can make a really good argument. And basically, it's a bullshit question.
Or at this table, all right, we already don't have a table.
Yep.
There are as many mouths as there are noses. What if someone lost their nose in Nam? Now what game?
Exactly. What if someone has two noses? What if there's some one of those funny glasses with the nose built onto it sitting on the table? That's an extra nose.
Oh, there's a good one, though. This is not the first half of the year, and the first letter of the state we are in is in the first 10 letters of the alphabet.
See, those are good ones, right? Ones where there's no ambiguity, there's no argument to be made. It's true or false. Some of these, right? There was one that wasn't even true or false. It was like a command.
Yeah, it was like slam both your hands down at the same time.
Well, it's like, well, wait a minute. That's not a true or false statement. That's bullshit.
Also, some of them are predicated upon the future. So I realized that I could retroactively change the result of the game. One of them was, you are sleeping here tonight.
Yep.
So we had some friends who were actually sleeping over, but Scott wasn't sleeping over. But he could have said true and then said, all right, yeah, I am going to stay the night.
Yeah.
Or what if I didn't let him stay the night?
Or what if something happened later and people weren't able to sleep there? You never know what's going to happen. So you can't make true or false statements about the future unless, psychic powers are real.
Now, the other trouble is that the way the game is written, it doesn't have all the game modes like Spot It did. So the game kind of peters out, and then you're going to rapidly have the same questions over and over again as the game goes toward its conclusion.
That's another flaw in the game, right? Everyone's dealt these cards at the beginning of the game, and you cycle through those cards, and each card does have 5 questions, but you don't choose which question to ask. It's determined by the color of the previous card. So if you keep playing and you don't suck, right, then what happens is you keep asking the same questions over and over again, and you don't draw any new cards. To get new questions, you would have to play again a new game with new cards, or bring in some sort of house rule where you can throw away cards you have already and draw new ones and stuff like that. But it's not in the official rules, so yeah, the rules are flawed in that you don't get fresh questions, and eventually you're doing the same things over and over again.
Which is actually, Apples to Apples has a similar problem that everyone uses their good cards, and then if the game goes on too long, everyone has nothing but a bunch of shit proper nouns, and everyone's just bored and waiting for the game.
That's
to
why
end.
you got to get so many expansions. But even if you get so many expansions, it's not like they're all good cards in there. You still get a handful of crap
The
cards.
real answer is you got to make your own Apples to Apples.
Yeah.
But the other problem with the rules is that the way it works, you can't really get ahead. You can basically just hold out.
Already discussed that, yeah.
But there's a way around that, and that maybe you just don't answer any questions. Then you can never fall behind.
Well, the way I interpret it is that you have to put a hand down, right?
But it doesn't specify a time limit, so I can just wait till everyone's done, sit there, fully consider the question, and very slowly go,
Yeah. I'm fine with that. But
So,
I
I
feel
guess-
like you have to put a hand down because let's say everyone puts a correct hand down, no one's saying anything. You still have to think about it and decide if it's right hand or what to do.
But the way the questions are, given 30 seconds to think, you're guaranteed to not fuck it up.
I know.
So
Unless it's one of those stupid ambiguous questions.
what this game is, if I had to encapsulate it in a word, is
Broken.
lazy.
I call it
Not broken. I'm going to say lazy
I'm
because
going to say broken.
well, yeah, it is broken, but it's only broken due to laziness. The concept
alright.
is really solid, and it could have been great. They just didn't even put half a fucking ass into the questions they put on it, and they didn't actually think about the mechanics. It's like they didn't actually playtest this game. I cannot imagine adults playing this game for more than 2 seconds without running into a question they can't answer from the rules.
Yeah, you could take this exact same rule set, add a rule for maybe switching cards out or drawing cards or something like that. Like when you win, you draw a card
Yep.
or Uno. And then, clarify the rule about, do you have to answer or not?
Maybe do something
and then
like
get rid of any ambiguous question and only put in the good questions.
Yep, like one way, maybe you make a rule like the last person to put their hand down gets some penalty to force people to move quickly.
Or something. The game could be fixed with the significant effort. It could be an okay game. It still wouldn't be as good as Spot It though, even if all those problems are solved.
I think it could be because the few rounds where the question was good and there was no ambiguity had the exact same brain feel as Spot It.
Yeah, but I think Spot It is just you can't compete with Spot It.
I think you could. Just this game, like I said, this game is broken, but it's broken due to nothing more than laziness. This could have easily been a really fun game, but instead, as it is, I would not buy this game if I were you.
No, we're not gonna be having 10 copies, giving them away.
I'm gonna try to fix it. Like other than
you have to make all new cards.
No, I can't fix the questions, but I'm gonna try to figure out a way to at least fix the mechanics. Because I think the concept is solid. Maybe, I don't know, I gotta come up with it. Maybe I swap it instead of putting your hands down, there's a totem. I don't know, I'll come up with something.
Yeah.
I'll make like a trigger mod.
Sure.
So the other game we'll talk about, because Scott finally beat it, so we can talk about it, is Abobo.
Abobo's Big Adventure. It's a Flash game. You can play it for free.
Yep.
So basically, we saw a trailer for this game, and what I didn't realize it was a Flash game at the time.
I was so pumped when I saw that trailer.
But the trailer, it's basically this incredibly crazy homage to the old NES games, right? Like, it's got, and each level is an homage to a different game. So there's a balloon fighter level, there's a dragon, double dragon level, a Zelda level, a Mega Man level, right? There's all these levels, and each level, Urban Champion level. Each one is modeled after an old NES game, and each one also includes a bunch of elements from other NES games. So in the Double Dragon level, you're walking down, there's a Goomba, and you kick it. Or like, in the swimming Mario level, well, there's also that Ninja Turtle, electric seaweed shit going on.
And a door that takes you to a room all Goonies 2 style where the mermaid is there.
Yeah, it's like every...
And, all I have to say is, Scott, you should have picked mate as the option.
I did the second time I played it, because you told me.
See how she makes a good face, like after that? Like, it's a funny face.
She's like, hey, baby. So in terms of the theme, right, the game is just really fun because it somehow manages to throw in all this stuff just blatantly. And usually that comes off as fanboyish and amateurish, but they manage to have it come off as, like, clever and quality, partly because... just, the way they put the pixel art in there is just really, well done and professional. And it's not just sort of like slapped together like a crappy Sprite comic.
Well, like, I like when you're brawling, how the guy actually can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Like, he just sucks and you can just kill him.
Yeah.
There's so many, like, it's clever. And the second, it's very well constructed. The very second one of the jokes gets old, you're already moving on to the next thing.
Yep.
Like, right when you're like, okay, I get it. Oh, there's something new.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with it was, and it's not really a problem for everyone, so I can't really hold it against the game. And it's also a good thing. It gives you the feel for like what Nintendo Hard was like, but it's not really Nintendo Hard by any means. I beat it in basically one go. Like it was super easy.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I tried to play it, I was using, I just couldn't get past the electric water part, but then, Rim told me to use the mate option instead of the other option. So the second time I played it, I was pretty much able to beat it. You gotta continue sometimes. They give you plenty of continues.
Yeah, well, once you put in the Konami code, you're pretty much set.
Yeah, right. And it's just... Actually, I accidentally enabled in the Contra level, I accidentally enabled 2-player mode, which basically doesn't work because they switch all the controls on you. So I sort of had to die on purpose to then... Because I couldn't shoot, because I couldn't figure out what button did the shooting. Because the screen that tells you the controls for 2-player mode disappeared, and I didn't have a second player. So I had to die on purpose and continue, and then use Konami code single player so I could shoot everybody.
But my complaint is just that the game was actually really too easy. And when I saw the trailer, I thought, I'm going to play that game and beat it. Like, I'm going to hardcore it. And it wasn't really hardcore.
Yeah, I beat it in like an hour. Once I actually put the effort in to try to beat it.
It's more like a sort of comedy homage that has gameplay to remind you what that gameplay is like. But it's not a hard game. Everyone should just play it. If you're even reasonably skilled at games, you'll beat it pretty easily. Not in one go, but without too much. You're not going to bang your head against the wall. It's no Super Meat Boy.
There were some things that bothered me. For example,
no secrets in the Zelda level really pissed me off.
Yeah. There was what's it called? In the Balloon Fighter level, the controls were tight. Felt like Balloon Fighter, exactly, right?
Yep.
Zelda level, even though there were no secrets, the controls were exactly like Zelda.
Yep.
Perfect, right? But the Mega Man level, the controls are way off.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you put the effort in to get those other levels to match the original games, but Mega Man's all loosey-goosey. You can't even and they put the Piranha Plant bad guy there. You couldn't possibly. And then the Gizmo Duck, it's like you can't kill him before he hits you, and there's nowhere to stand. It's like, why did you design it like that? You should have just moved him back like a square or two. It would have been just fine.
Yep, because the hallmark of Mega Man games is that you can avoid everything unless you suck.
Right. So they, that Mega Man level had a couple poor design problems in it.
It made up for it by being really derpy easy.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it was still just annoying that it's like, oh, you kind of screwed this up, guys.
I was very pleased. Spoilers, but whatever. That at the end, it was, Little Mac was the bad guy, like he was the square boss. And the fact that then you fight him and you're the bad guy in the perspective, and you're playing Punch-Out, but you're controlling the big guy on the other side.
Yeah, that was great. That was genius. That's the kind of thing where it's one of those, like, why doesn't the Pokemon MMO exist? Why isn't there a game where it's Punch-Out and you're the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
There it is. There's a game that's Punch-Out and you're the bad guy. I almost wish they would make an entire game of Punch-Out where you're the bad guy.
That'd be really fun.
Yeah, that'd be the greatest.
Really fun.
And you could choose different guys, different moves, and all kinds of stuff.
But Abobo was, the one thing is, like, you play this whole game and Abobo's a fucker the whole way. He's murdering kids and killing people.
Right, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy from Double Dragon.
But toward the end, the game kind of lulled me into this sense of, like, I'm playing Abobo, I'm the hero. And then at the end, it's actually kind of a gross cutscene, but you get this cutscene where they just go apeshit and kill everybody.
Because you're the bad guy. You bad guy just won.
Yeah, Abobo is a horrible person.
But then again, Little Mac was also a horrible person.
Yeah, so two horrible people fought. And the more horrible one won.
Sure.
Because Abobo is the most horrible.
He is.
But it was super fun. The thing is, I thought I was going to buy the NES controller thing to play Abobo. But
I have it.
Yeah.
I used it.
But you can totally just beat it with the keyboard because it's not that hard.
Yeah. And the Joy 2 key is such bullshit.
Fuck Joy 2 key.
I mean, that thing's such a piece of shit. Oh my God. I think I'm going to try to write a replacement for Joy 2 key that doesn't suck because it's awful. It should die in a fire.
Yep.
It's an open source too, so you can trust it.
Yeah, but not for Max.
No. So if you're an NES fan, go back and play Abobo. If you're not an NES type of person, I actually think you probably shouldn't play it.
It won't make any sense. That would
it
be
won't
like
make
watching,
any sense.
It would be like watching Excel Saga if you'd never seen anime before.
Right. So what you should do instead is you should, get the list of like the 9 or 10 games that are, homaged, mostly like the big ones that are homaged.
Mega Man, Balloon Fighter.
Mega Man, Balloon Fight, Zelda, Double Dragon.
That wrestling game.
Urban Champion, Pro Wrestling, Punch-Out, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1. What are the other ones?
That's enough.
I mean, DuckTales, whatever. Just play those, and and Mario 2, right? Play those, Mario 3.
Oh, speaking of which, that aside, play DuckTales on the NES. That's one of the greatest games ever. That
Mario
game's
1.
Awesome.
Play all those games. Learn. Get the feel for them. Beat Mario 3, or else what the hell? And Mega Man 2, and then play Abobo, and you'll be able to appreciate it. I wish they would have made a Metroid level.
Oh yeah, well there were a lot of
or a
things
Castlevania level.
I wish they'd done, but they had homage to a lot of those.
They
things.
did, but they didn't have levels for them. Metal Gear level.
Did you find the S&M torture porn room?
Don't. Maybe,
Really?
maybe I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't.
The room where Luigi's in there and the princess and the girls with whips from Double Dragon.
No.
Really? So you remember in Double Dragon, in the first level, there's that place where you can walk up the wall.
Yes.
If you walk all the way up the wall, it's up there.
Oh.
That was great because the fact that they had that walk up the wall, that glitchy bullshit there, and that they did a thing in there, that was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. That was it. I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's go.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.